Filmmaker Michael Moore is confident, according to his newly released writing on Substack, that Kamala Harris will win the election. But he does have a couple of scenarios that, if that's how the election plays out, he thinks she could still potentially lose. And he is quite confident. He says right now, if you know how to really read the polls, or if you have access to the various private and internal polling being conducted by and shared only amongst the elites, Wall Street, and members of Congress, then you already know that this election was over weeks ago. So he's very confident, like he's all but saying this thing is done. But he thinks that there's a couple things that she could potentially do. So he says that if in these final 4 to 5 weeks, if Harris is advised by her wealthy donors to shun the left and drop her more progressive positions in favor of a quote move to the center, this too could reduce or depress the vote for Harris, especially among the base. I know many of you don't want to hear that, but I'm just trying to warn you that the actions of party hacks and pundits have consequences. And so he has more to say about that, but that's the basic point, that potentially if she were to suddenly like tack to the center in this last month, then that could be bad. And look, I understand why he'd be worried about that. Democratic candidates for the presidency have always done that in the last month, I think. But what I would say is, in terms of her policies, I don't know that I would really characterize her previous positions as being really overly progressive. Like I think that they're probably to the left of like a Joe Biden, but I don't think that she's been like hardcore trying to court Bernie voters or anything. That said, we're now facing a widening war in the Middle East. You know, we had, and now it seems like we've averted that dock worker strike. There's certainly opportunities in this last month where if she has to take a stand, she could choose to appeal to one side or the other. So I understand Michael Moore's concern about that.
Yeah, so first of all, just a quick side note here. Where are these polls for the elites? Apparently we're not elites because I didn't get the internal elites polls. I only see the public ones. But okay, and so having only seen the public ones, I don't agree with, this is a very rare time I don't agree with Michael Moore. Normally, I think he nails it, and he is with the overall point. But this, when he says, oh, this election was over weeks ago. No, it wasn't. It's not even over now. It's not even close to over now. So I don't know what polls he's seeing. I see polls where she has a 1-point lead in half the swing states. That's not, like the minute you take like a tiny lead, that doesn't mean you definitely won. So anyways, back to the main point. Did she tack the Senate? Actually, John, I disagree with you a little bit. I think that when she picked Tim Walz, build the walls.
I agree about Tim Walz.
Okay, that was definitely progressive and the most progressive choice, right? But then she released a populist economic agenda, right? So hey, we're worried about prices, we're worried about housing, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna prevent price gouging, we're gonna help you with housing prices. And there was even talk of, you know, who's causing the housing problem, and there was an accurate description. There was a bunch of things in there where we were like, wow, I didn't expect that, that's great, right? So then, obviously all of her donors got on her ear, and this is where Michael Moore's 100% right. And they're like, no, wait a minute, you're not gonna raise my taxes, are you? You don't wanna be a radical, are you? You're not gonna defund the police. They don't care about any of that, the defund and the immigration, etc. The only thing they care about is the taxes, right? And the deregulation and all that stuff. So then she started having surrogates go all over CNBC, and we've been covering those for weeks now, right here on the Young Turks. Going, no, she loves business. She loves business way more than Biden does. And these policies, don't worry about these policies, okay? The real policies are gonna be really pro-business, right? I don't think they're lying. I think they're telling the truth. And Mark Cuban, who again, I like Mark Cuban, but and I saw a video today where he's like, raise my taxes. Why billionaires' taxes should be higher? So credit to him on that. But he's told anchors at CNBC, we talk to her 3 to 4 times a week. And she keeps telling us that, you know, all these things about how she's gonna help businesses and be way more conservative than Biden was economically. And not only is that a concern in terms of her policies if she gets into office, but he's absolutely right. The biggest concern is right now, she had the surge when she went populist progressive on economic issues. You can argue about fracking, you can argue about immigration and crime, etc. But on economic issues, that's what led to her rise in the polls. Once you start backing away from that, I mean, Anna and I have been warning about this for weeks. Stop saying how much you love Dick Cheney, that's about war, and stop saying how much you love business interests and corporate interests, and don't worry, you're gonna take care of them. The American people hate to hear that. So his warning should be heeded. It's definitely the wrong path.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I think it's, part this whole like, if someone comes into my house, they're gonna get shot, and I'm gonna no change on Israel policy. Yeps. Yes, we know we are throwing down with a madman who wants to get Trump elected by starting World War III. Yep, no change. Like all that is already working against her. She is tacking to the center. I mean, Liz Cheney for who? Who? Nobody. There is nobody there. And I think the other thing is this Lena Khan battle is very interesting. The head, the FTC chair, Lena Khan's going to be hitting the road, going to be campaigning, which I think is part and parcel of her own survival, but also to say, look, Lena Khan has been doing amazing antitrust work, suing Meta, suing Amazon, actually going into the breaking up big tech, holding them accountable as the right always wants to do. So here's where here's my thing about Kamala. I don't know why she walks away from the best parts of Biden's policies and just cozies up to the worst parts of Biden's policies. And I don't mean left, right, what progressives love. I mean what everyone loves. Everyone wants to go after like big businesses that are gouging people and talk about greedflation. Everyone wants to also stop sending weapons to Israel. But instead, she's again walking away from, and Biden this week said he was offended, that Kamala seems to be walking away from it. I kind of agree with him. I think that on labor, on antitrust, on some of these economic issues, the amazing jobs report out today, right? Adding, 250,000 new jobs or more. Like, why isn't Kamala Harris actually talking about that? Instead, we get this sort of like consultant speak opportunity economy. I don't like it at all. And Michael Moore is very much like the World Cup octopus of elections. And so whatever he says, I'm like, do what he says.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.